Hi everyone, it's John Mitchell and welcome to Unit 4. Unit 4 is all about transforming or changing a business, and in this first area of study it's about actually reviewing business performance. And the first point in our study design is about change or business change and the concept of change management. So business change is the adoption of a new idea or behavior by a business, and really businesses change as a result from pressures from the business environment. So what you might see is the internal or external environments. Now you don't need to know every element in the internal or external environments or anything like that, but just to give you an example, so some of the environments or some of the elements in the business environments include things like the economy and the state the economy is in, customers, employees, technology, competitors, and there's a whole range of other things. But these things put pressure on businesses, and as a result of these, the business will look to transform or change in some particular way. So just as an example, we can look at Coca-Cola here. And so recently Coca-Cola's profits have been declining. And part of the reason is the pressure that customers have been putting on them. So customers are now moving towards more healthier drinks. The sugar and health has become a really big concept with a lot of consumers lately, and so they're very aware of the amount of sugar that is put into products such as Coca-Cola products. And as a result, profits have been in decline for a period of time, and this is putting pressure on Coca-Cola to change. What those changes are, they haven't really come forward and said yet, but you can see how an element from the business environment in terms of customers would put pressure on an organization or on a business such as Coca-Cola to implement some kind of change or transformation. So change within a business can be a million different things, and businesses can change in many ways, but we can look at two sort of concepts. So changes can be what we can call incremental, which are small continuous changes that occur regularly during or within the organization. So an example I've got there is just a new process being implemented to improve efficiency. Or they can be known as transformational, or you may also hear the term radical, where it's a significant change that often impacts the whole business. And the examples I've got there are a company restructure or a merger. So just when you're thinking about change, it can be on any level, but the smaller ongoing changes we call incremental changes, and the larger changes we can call transformational or even radical changes. So the last thing I want to talk about with the concept of business change is that it's important that businesses are proactive rather than reactive. Now when we talk about proactive, we mean that a business is able to foresee changes in the dynamic environment, so things like the customers, the economy, any legislation that may be occurring, so those things we were talking about before, and then take advantage of those. And the example I've got there is Apple. So when Steve Jobs was around, he was able to foresee that a personal computer was going to be something that drove a whole industry, and he was able to create the personal computer and put it in front of people and make it affordable. He did the exact same thing when it came to the smartphone. So he saw that, mobile phones were a growing industry, but he saw that what people are going to want is going to be able to access information on from their pockets, really, and that was where the smartphone came about. On the flip side, being reactive is where the business lets the environments impact them before they actually make changes. So the example I've got there is BlackBerry. They waited for, well, first of all, they were a dominant force in the mobile phone market, and they waited until large competitors such as the Android and the iPhone came about and created these smartphones. So although BlackBerry were a leader in technology at the time, they just saw that as them being a leader. They didn't look into the future to see what other competitors were going to do and what the customers were going to want in the future. And as a result, they waited for Apple and Android to come and impact them before they made any changes. And as a result, they don't make mobile phones anymore. So just to recap, business change is the adoption of a new idea or behavior by a particular business, and changes can be either incremental, those small ongoing changes, or transformational, where they impact the whole business, and businesses should look to be proactive rather than reactive during times of change. So for questions, activities and more, then come on over to teachingbubble.com.